So we might get some decent rain this time around. It's absolutely black to the south, a little bit up that way, so. Fix me hat up for Dan. Shout out to Dan that says that I need a tutorial on how to put a hat on. You should make that for us and that'll give you 2 videos on your YouTube channel there, Dan. Welcome back, guys, another episode, Tech Talk Tuesday. So yeah, today we're going through the shop manual for the line trimmer that we did an unboxing on 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's a RLT254 CDSN. It's the brush cutter line trimmer. And so we were doing a run through of the operator's manual, do's and don'ts, and what it actually says in the operator's manual about how to operate the machine. But something's happened, a little change of plans. So we're going to chuck the original instructions shop manual on the pile with all the other shop manuals that I keep for OH&S. So I'll give you guys a look at that now. So what I've got here, guys, it's all the original instructions, operators manuals, owners manuals, handbook, how to operate instructions for every single one of the machines and pieces of equipment that we have, all the engines and all that sort of thing. So there's Massport books, there's Toro books, there's Still, there's Ryobi, a few other ones in there, Rover. Yeah, there's a Noah Komatsu, there's a line trimmer. All this is the original operators manuals because all staff should be familiar with the original operators manual, how-to instructions before they operate any equipment. For our occupational health and safety, to be compliant with occupational health and safety as a business, you should have all these manuals on hand so that you can train your staff on how to operate the tools. And actually, if you read into these books, they say that the book should remain with the lifetime of the equipment. So if the equipment doesn't have the book attached to it, it's no longer safe to be used. I think that's a bit far-fetched, but we're putting the grass trimmer instructions in the collection now. And I'll give you a look at how I store them. So I store all the manuals in this plastic bag. Actually, it came with a Massport lawnmower when it was new, and so I store all the manuals in that bag, and then I place them up here on the shelf. But what's going on here? Was the whippersnipper that we just unboxed 2 weeks ago sitting on the floor here, pulled apart. I'll give you a look at that up close and personal as to what's going on there. Just before we get into that, how many of you guys actually do keep the workshop manuals and all that sort of stuff for the equipment, so that if you've got staff or you sell that piece of equipment, you can familiarise the new person on how to operate that piece of equipment safely. It's part of our OH&S guidelines for Australia, so all staff should be trained on how to use the equipment, but also they should be familiar on the proper operating procedure of the equipment. So yeah, how many of you guys actually have all the owner's manuals, or how many of you guys, when buying a used piece of equipment, consider that into the value of the machine? Or I've got a lot of them in PDF file where I can just print them out on the computer. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do, is search them up on Google and make sure there is actually a manual available for that model if it doesn't come with a manual, because a machine without a manual can't really be sent out to work. But yeah, I'll give you a look at how I keep all the manuals and we'll get into this video. So we didn't set out for this to go like this. This was new in box. Purchased it off a lady off Marketplace, and it's actually the second thing that I bought. I bought a blower, this one here in the background, and this brush cutter lawn trimmer kit, which is the one here, lawn trimmer brush cutter straight shaft. And so when I bought the new one last week, I noticed like a lot of differences in the engine and all those sort of things, and on further inspection, the new one that we unboxed 2 weeks ago is actually a 2017 model, somewhere thereabouts. It's just on the end of the warranty period, so whether these ladies bought them on clearance from somewhere or whatever and sells them as a brand new unit, but this is the unit that we bought 2 or 3 weeks ago and did an unboxing on it. And as you see, I've got it completely pulled apart. If you've seen the video on the RLT 25GM series, then you'll know what's going on here. But this one suffered the same failure, and it's coming back to this. Bearing's completely seized. You can see how hot it's been. I can't even get it to actually move at all. So that's knurled sections been spinning inside the housing and completely destroyed it. There's like 2 or 3 mils of material missing around the outside of that for it to work properly. It was working properly. It had a funny sound and a funny smell, and I thought, that smells familiar to the other ones that have failed. And so I pulled it down last night just to have a look what was going on. Maybe thought might need to grease that bearing up or something like that. And yeah, found it completely failed. Thought, I might try and get warranty, because I've only had it for 2 weeks. And then it looks like they're just new old stock. So dummy coin on this one, but it only cost like $90, so I'm not fast. But that was my first brand new one, and now I've gotten this one here through the warranty that I had on the jet blower. I used it as like store credit, and I bought this straight shaft trimmer. I've been holding out for as long as I can so that we're going to have it for spring, because this one's got a 2 years warranty, so if it plays up, it'll be going straight back. And if it happens too many times, I'll upgrade to the 52cc brush cutter and look into another brand. But the other engine's around the corner, and I'll just grab it out. This is all my expanded attachments, and so I think it's the hedge trimmer, running the hedge trimmer attachment, that's given us drama. But we've also got the edger attachment. The rest of my gear's out in the car, the other snipper and straight shaft, and the edger's in the car with the mower. I'm doing work this week out the back of the ute, but I brought all this gear inside because we're copping a bit of rain at the moment. That's my didgeridoo. The new one's on the left. It's got a snake, a lizard, and a turtle. And the one on the right, I can actually play that quite good. It's got a turtle on it. And that's my original signs that I used to do. I drew all that by hand. But yeah, there are my expanded attachments. And so what I wanted to show you now is, this is the engine from the RLT. Yeah, so this is one of the 4 engines from the RLT 25 that I pulled apart in the last video about the Achilles heel of the Ryobi. And this is the brand new engine that we unboxed last week. And so you can see they're very similar. They're post-port 2-strokes. They're not the reed valve 2-strokes like the old model ones, but very similar in the engine. Only really changes in the carburetor design again. But also the plastic housing's a different shape if you look at the two of them. So once again, fingers crossed that this new one is better, because I'm not having a good run so far By all means, if you're a Ryobi rep and you want somebody that's gonna put your prototype of your new 25cc whippersnipper through its paces, please do contact me, Instagram or email or whatever, because I just got 2 weeks out of this one, if that, when taking it out of the box. So I'm definitely putting them through their paces on standard residential yards, which is a little bit sad, because I've had good runs before with the PLT and the PBC series, and went to Home Lights, which are a cheaper version of this, and now back to the Ryobis, thinking that I'll get the same joy that I had with the PBC and PLT, and yes, I'm getting the same joy, that they were good running engines, but they're just not putting the power to the ground. Just keep having this same plastic housing failure. And so the 52cc brush cutter is a metal housing around that clutch bearing. So when the bearing stuffs up and it starts spinning, I suppose, it's going to make a bit more of a noise than just burnt the plastic out and you smell a bit of burnt plastic, which it does say in the operator's manual that there is a bit of a burnt plastic smell when they're in the run-in procedure. And this engine here has only seen 2 tanks of fuel, and it still had half a tank of fuel on failure, or when I pulled it down to discover that it's failed. There's no point putting it back together now. It's just going to vibrate and do all that sort of thing. I've already got issues with the carpal tunnel or Anderson syndrome in my hands from the vibration of the mowers and the other equipment. And you see I've got a fair investment with Ryobi just sitting here in front of me. You'll know from other videos I've sort of put a lot of their gear through its paces. I've also got the cultivator attachment and the edger attachment, the blower attachment, and yeah, I've only just started getting into the new pieces of equipment, but they're not even lasting me at the moment, so I very well may steer away from using this brand that matches the colours on our signs really nicely. But other than that, it's really letting us down. I'm very happy with that blower at the moment, but I was also very happy with the jet blower before it had its issues, which is another concern about this one here, having the same engine as the jet blower. But yeah, that's my video. Yeah, RLT, what's it called? RBC 254 FSDSN. Failed at 2 weeks of service. Hopefully I can get some second-hand parts and rebuild him, but yeah, hit us up, Ryobi. Not happy, Jan. So that's that, guys. Tech Talk Tuesday. And yeah, the Achilles heel of the entire Ryobi brand, it seems to be turning out to be, but it's becoming the Achilles heel of my business. I'll give you a look at something else before I let you go. So on the subject of line trimmers and home lights, this is the home light that I used. It's a 2015 model. This is what I used last season, pretty much predominantly, all the way through up until I changed into the yellow Ryobis. Even this is the sort of head that I started out with. It just takes the one string. It's your, what's it called? Yeah, Pro Cut, and the new one's called a Pro Cut 2, where it takes 2 strings, but this one takes 1. And it's really easy. The only issues I ever had with them was a little crimped piece in there, like a little rivet, getting a sharp edge on it and making the string fail early, and that piece that you see the string wedged into there, the guys were putting too fat of a string into the small side. They'll sort of stretch out the hole, and then it wouldn't hold the string properly. But to counteract that, we just sort of twisted the string around that part on the loop through. Which I used like an extra inch of string or whatever on that piece, but we only ever use these ones with the guard on the whippy, so I use them in a straight shaft. This is in a curve shaft configuration, as one of my mates is going to use it for his house yard. But the main difference with these was the clutch setup and the pull starter on the front of them, so they don't take any good to being left in the weather. If any moisture goes down inside there, that will technically ride off the whole unit, whereas these new ones, they run the pull starter on the back there, which I've got like now 4 spare ones. So having the full crankshaft and that, I thought these ones would go and go and go, but for $100 I'm tempted to get one of these new home lights like this one here and just put a straight shaft in it. It's the older reed valve style 2-stroke, but super reliable. Like, I bet you this would start here in a couple of pulls, if that. Might even do it, hey? See if I can set the camera up. And turn that off before I gas myself. This is the best trimmer line that I've come across. Sort of trying them all. Again, these like 80-meter rolls and 88-meter rolls, and they're Australian made by a company that made fishing line, and they sold out to a Chinese company which discontinued the production of the trimmer line, continued making fishing line. But yeah, the Taipan wire, as it's known, the Australian made trimmer line. My favourite's this 2.5mm. This one's a 2.7. It says 1.6 on there, but it had it like whited out like this one. I only got so many stickers. It's a 2.4 square, 2.7 round, 2.5 round, 2.4 round, and I've got another small spool like one of these ones in the car, and it's got the 2.5mm and the 2.7mm up here. Carry another one like that, and that gets me through all my daily duties. That 2.5mm will cover you for just about anything that you need. Sadly, it's discontinued, so I won't be able to get any more of this, but it lasts. I got a single head. I've been loading it up by holding the string up above my head and looping it between my foot. So I'm getting, I'm 1.8 meters tall, so I'm getting about 3.6 meters of string. And we did 16 yards one day. And I still got another 2 yards the next day before the string popped out the head. So it goes and goes. If you guys seen the state of the yards that we do, the edges are always really tough. Crabgrass and centipede grass on the edges are always really tough. So we are very demanding on our line trimmers and our string. But you'll find that the string will make or break the line trimmer. The string that come with these new Ryobis, they're an entirely different machine to use with that string. Just whipping on things and it doesn't even chop them off, so you definitely got to have the tough string, but you don't want it too fat, because the fatter it is, the stronger it is, but the thinner it is, the sharper it is. So when you start getting into the thick lines, having a shaped one like this square one gives you a bit of an edge, so it helps with the cutting. And yeah, very disappointed they haven't continued with making these ones, because as you see, it is a commercial grade line, and yeah, all the same ingredients as fishing line. So that wraps up our episode of Tech Talk Tuesday. Gonna put out an episode of this once a fortnight on a Tuesday. It should come out Tuesday night in Australian time. so that way it gets out everywhere on a Tuesday. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next week, and maybe we'll read one of those owner's manuals. Have a good one.